Hey everyone, it's Lethal Logic X. Welcome back to another video. So, I've been through a lot. For those of you who know the story, I've been in hospital for the past month. Um, Very long story, but I'm just going to kind of pick some locks in the background while I talk about it. So, I had a whole bunch of seizures. I was found pulled over on the side of the road in my vehicle on the side of the highway by a random passing motorist who found me screaming and incoherent. They called 911 for me and brought the paramedics over. I continued having seizures while they brought me to hospital. It was suspected that I had at least a dozen seizures before they ended up doping me up with enough anti-seizure medications to stop the seizures outright. And yeah, spent an entire month in hospital. It took me about 3 days before I actually regained my senses enough to be any level of coherent, and it was very quickly discovered that I had an issue with my brain afterwards. Um, I have damage to the hippocampus in my brain. That is the part of the brain responsible for forming new memories. So that's why I still have the ability to pick locks, more or less just like I used to. That's a nice deep falset. But I I can't form new memories, or it's really, really difficult to form new memories. Um, I've had to rely on a sticky note system in order to be able to remember anything. I've placed sticky notes literally all over my house, and I constantly have to write down reminders because someone can tell me something, and 5 minutes later, I will forget that we have even had that discussion. I also very typically will tell a person something and then completely forget that I've told them that and think, oh, I need to tell this person that thing. And I tell them, and then they say, yeah, we already talked about that like 10 minutes ago. And I say, oh, okay. And then 10 minutes later, I'm telling them the exact same thing again because I still can't remember that it's happened. Um, this injury has completely changed the way I live my life. And at this point, I am legitimately afraid that I will be living the rest of my life with a severe cognitive deficit. Like, at the current moment, I legally am not allowed to drive my vehicle. If I was, for whatever reason, driving my vehicle and discovered to have been doing so, I would be breaking the law, even though I still hold a valid driver's license. I need to be medically cleared again in order to be able to drive my car. I have been off work ever since the entire incident, and there is no set date for me to return to work. Um, my entire life has been completely upended. I've had to learn a brand new way to live my life, and the amount of times I've cried myself to sleep is more than I'd like to admit. Every day is a challenge, a severe challenge. So, they did some scans of my brain. They did a couple of tests. One of them I remember being a lumbar puncture. They took like some fluid out of my spinal cord to look for signs of inflammation. I believe the MRI was repeated, but again, I have very, very few memories of being in hospital other than just little bits and pieces here and there. Like it took me weeks just to learn the name of a lot of my nurses and my therapists while I was there. Just walking to the water machine to grab a glass of water, which is walking down 2 hallways, was impossible because I wasn't able to form memories. I couldn't remember the path to get there and to get back to my hospital bed. That's how bad the cognitive deficits are. So I'm now living with a disability, and God only knows how long it will take for me to recover. Thankfully, I am physically fine. I did not crash my vehicle. No one was injured. And yeah, hopefully I make a recovery. Yeah, long-term memories are still intact. Pretty sure I already said that, because again, I just can't form new memories at all. Or, it's extremely difficult to do so. I can still pick locks just fine because that's something I could do before the incident. That's something that was still locked away in my brain. I can still recite pi to over 50 digits because that's something I learned how to do beforehand. I can still play my video games, at least the ones that I played a whole bunch before the incident, because that's something I learned beforehand. That's still locked in my brain. But someone can tell me something, and 5 minutes later I've forgotten, unless I write it down on a sticky note. I'll tell them the same things over and over, or ask them the same questions over and over and over, because I just can't remember. My life is a living nightmare at this point. Just getting through each day takes all of the mental effort that I have. I don't know if I'll ever recover completely, but I can only hope. I can only hope that I make some kind of recovery and eventually get back to some semblance of normality. But anyway, before I finish breaking down completely, I'm going to end the video. Feel free to stick any questions you'd like down in the comments. I'll do my best to answer all of them. I'll try to make another follow-up video whenever I can and maybe pick some more locks or do something else. But anyway, big thank you to everyone who's been helping me along the way. I seriously couldn't do this without you. But anyway, thanks for watching. Have a good one.